Welcome. You are listening to the Be a Better Being podcast, hosted by Michelle Zellner and Sasha Berscheid. Michelle and Sasha are here to give you information and inspiration to help you live your healthiest, happiest lives. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoy the show.
Greetings. Thank you for tuning in to the Be a Better Being podcast. I'm Michelle Zellner, your host, and I am joined by two fantastic humans. One of them being my side host, Sasha. How's it going, darling?
Hello. Thank you for having me today. Super excited to be here and share about
Anthony Rodriguez. AROD. Hello. Welcome to the show, AROD.
Howdy. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So just quick background on how I know you and why this is happening. You are one of the producers for the Mandy Connell Show. And as I've been a frequent guest on the show, sometimes you are, well, you used to be behind the glass, but now you're in the studio. So I've seen you in both areas, as well as via Zoom when we do it that way. And I have gotten to ride along vicariously through your story. And I think it's a really incredible one. And you talk openly about it on Mandy's show as well, whenever a topic comes up that is relevant. So I think it's best if you give a little brief background on you. I want you to kind of jump to where you are now, and then we'll rewind to how and why you went on this journey.
So as of now, I am so happy to kind of be in my maintenance phase of this entire journey, which if you were to tell me, gosh, was this August of 2021? I think is when this whole thing started for me. My wife and I were weighing our puppy, and we're like, oh, I wonder how much she weighs. And I jump on the scale with our dog, and it reads 330 pounds. And I go, well, I don't think our dog is very much. So what is this? I've been the bigger guy for most of my life. But so right now, I am now sitting at 210 pounds. But in August 1st, 2021, I was 318 pounds. And I felt gross. I've always kind of been the bigger guy. Like I've really been the fat guy since high school. And so it was really nothing new to me, but I got to a point where it was really bad. And so now 210 pounds, I wanted to change things up. I think it was more about not just losing pounds, but I wanted to get just healthy in general. I felt terrible. I didn't have an enjoyment of life. And now knowing where I'm at now, I realize that I should have done this a long time ago, because I feel absolutely incredible. And looking great and losing pounds is phenomenal, but just the way I feel, both emotionally, physically, spiritually, I wish I would have done this years ago. And I'm only 29. And so I know obviously it's good to do this a little bit early on. Then I know a lot of people try to do it later on in life where it's a lot more difficult, but I'm so happy to have done it now.
Well, I applaud you that you have done it now, because 29 is relatively young to have kind of had this, enlightenment. I wish everybody has it by the time they're 29. We wouldn't have nearly the issues we have with chronic disease that we do if people would get on it like you did. What was it about, just that one day weighing yourself? Had you not really noticed that you were, as large as you were? Or what was it that day that made you say, oh my gosh?
I hadn't noticed. And when I look at before pictures now, I go, how did I not see this? Like I said, I've always kind of, I think in years past, and again, like I said, I've really been the bigger guy since high school. So we're talking 10 plus years. And so when I would look at pictures in the past, I would definitely see that I was not looking great and whatnot. I never really enjoyed taking pictures and seeing myself. I really didn't have that reflection, no pun intended, when I would look in the mirror. I really wouldn't see that, but in pictures I would see it, and I never really felt great. But man, now if I look at pictures now from where I was then, it was terrible. But what made me change now, I think a big thing for me, really probably my biggest inspiration, is my wife and I are planning on having kids soon. And I really want to be able to, because I think the one thing I aspire to be the most, despite how much I love my job and all the different things I love to do, my number one thing I wanted to be the most is a dad. And I never want to have to say, no, I don't have enough energy to take you to the park. no, I'm not really feeling that good. I think I'm going to stay in today. So we're not going to be able to go to, Six Flag or Chuck E. Cheese or whatever it may be, if Chuck E. Cheese is still around then. There was a big inspiration for me to want to be able to do everything, to say yes for when we have kids. So I think that added goal that was more like, it wasn't just for me, it was for my future children. That I think this is the biggest inspiration. The other big thing too is, prior to the future having of children, my wife and I also wanted to look really good for our wedding. We officially got our wedding in January of 2022. So just about 4 or 5 months after the initial journey started. So we wanted to obviously look good for that. And then it was a matter of, why stop here? Why do we just, now we've had the wedding down. I had lost 50 pounds at that point, 50 or so. So I was like, well, why stop there? So we took it to another level and said, I want to feel better. Like, is there a next level we can get to? And there was another 50 pounds that was there. When I finally got to the point where my body said enough was enough, and probably is a good reason to know is because obviously when you're over 300 pounds, there's going to be a loose skin factor. And so your body, the people that I was working with at Soda Weight Loss, they basically told me, hey, that loose skin can account for a lot. And so you could be, at a good weight right now, even though if you wanting to get a little further on, but the loose skin is accounting for a certain amount, my body stopped. And the fact that I was doing the same thing and feeling amazing, and my body stopped losing weight, my body saying, you're good. That was weird. Like, that was a really weird moment for me, because I had always had more to lose. I've done different weight loss programs in the past. I would lose 20 pounds here, 40. I think I lost 40 pounds as I graduated college, because I was going to be a on-air TV personality. So I wanted to lose a lot of weight then, and I lost 40 then, but I would always put it back on. And the biggest difference for me in this specific journey in the past year and a half was, and what I would tell other people is, it's not about losing weight. You can't think of it as just losing the number, because you'll put it back on if you don't make the change in your life. It's a lifestyle. You want to be healthy. If you just want to say, oh, I want to lose this, but then you're going to go back to the same bad habits. That's the difference in this journey for me, is I didn't want to lose weight. I wanted to get healthy. Losing weight was just one of the things that went along with that.
Well, I love that you found that epiphany, because that is something in my own journey was the game changer. I need to stop putting the focus on weight loss and just put the focus on changing my behaviors to help me be a healthy, happy human. And if I do those, there's a very good chance that weight loss will occur. And that's the way it goes. And so it is such a hard mindset shift to really embrace, because we're so conditioned to wanting that quick fix, right? We can lose it. And that's often the question I'll ask somebody if they come to me and they say they want to lose weight. My question is, okay, you want to lose it, but do you want it to be gone forever, or do you not care if it comes back? Because depending on how you answer that question, I'm going to have a different plan for you. And, generally people say, oh, no, I don't ever want it to come back. And yet they still want the plan that will make it lose it quickly.
Yeah.
So, and Sasha, I know this has been an experience in your own life as well. So anything about AROD's story that is resonating with you?
I'm just really proud of you. I think it's very important for people to hear that it's not about weight loss. Like, it's literally not about weight loss. I stopped weighing myself March of 2020. Whoa. Yeah, it'll be 2 years of not weighing myself, because I am not a number. That is not who I am. I don't identify as a number. I identify as a person who has different gravitational pulls depending on how much I ate, my sleep, my hormones. There are so many different things. So I go off of, how am I feeling physically, mentally, my energy levels. I just try to stay very in tune with that. And so I'm very proud of you that you took those steps. I think it's beautiful that you are paternal. Not that many men are. And if they are, they're coming out of the woodworks more. But I think it's beautiful that that is the reason behind it, because your children will add so much value to your life, and having the weight loss and doing the work, you just have so much in your future for you and your children. I'm interested, I know this is about you, but I'm also interested to hear about the journey between you and your wife. And then additionally, what does this journey look like? Is it, what stopped, what started? Was it like, oh, I need to add more fruits and vegetables? Oh, I need to look at my protein, So like, first, tell me about the journey between you and your wife, and has it improved your relationship between the two of you?
Absolutely. I want to start there. It absolutely has improved our relationship because we're doing this together. Like, I 1000% admittedly would not be able to do this without her. Number one, I say this a little more silly, but it is very true. She's an absolutely amazing cook, and I probably couldn't cook like 90% of the amazing foods that she cooks. And we do so many delicious foods that really start, obviously, that based in protein. Honestly, the other thing too is we cut out, because I've always eaten way too much fast food, and that has always been a big problem, because obviously fast food is just, especially the volume that I would eat it at, was just absolutely terrible for you. So cutting out that together, doing all these steps together was the key. Because if I were just doing it and we're not eating as well, or if she were doing it and I were not eating as well, obviously that having that there would, as a kind of having that opportunity to eat that food would probably cause a lot of issues along the journey. So doing it together was a big boost for both of us. And she lost a lot of weight too. I mean, we both did this journey together, and both actually, even though I know typically that men usually lose weight faster, she actually lost just as much as I did and as fast as I did, which was awesome, which is absolutely spectacular. So we looked great for the wedding, which, like I said, was about 5 months after the journey started. And we both decided that we wanted to keep going. And she has the same, for her, the maternal instincts are there as a big incentive for her too. She wants to be healthy enough to carry the children. She obviously wants to be healthy enough to raise them, like I want to as well. So we both share not only the desire to get healthy, but we have that same reason as well. And so for us to be so in sync on this journey is what has made it so successful, because we push each other, we challenge each other. We both know that sometime that we both have a minor temptation at times, and we both are able to help one another in pushing through that. So in previous weight loss journeys, I've been alone in it. And, I would get, like I said earlier, I would get to 20, 30 pounds and 40 pounds, but I wouldn't have enough reason to keep it off, because I would always just kind of go back to the fast food, always kind of go back to previous habits. But having my wife there, and like I said, that joint partnership of the future children that we're going to have, it was never a thought to stop. I wanted to continue to push for her, and I think she would say the same, that she wanted to continue to push for me. And I'll end this answer by saying I really, really love the healthy food that she makes. We rotate on protein at night. We rotate between pork loin and chicken and ground turkey, and she's just an amazing cook, and we do a lot of meal prep, and she's so good at making everything so tasty, and having that kind of available, that really healthy food kind of available, makes it easy, because obviously convenience of fast food or convenience of something more unhealthy has always been there in the past for me, but in this journey with her, it hasn't. So yeah.
I love that you have such a supportive relationship. That is something that, in my experience working with people, they generally do not. And you highlight the importance of teamwork and the importance of having that support. It's amazing that you're actually doing it together, but there might be, couples or a friendship or whatever, or a family member where perhaps one doesn't really need to do it, and yet they somehow still sabotage rather than support. And I think that's really critical, no matter what it is anybody's trying to achieve, is number one, you're not supposed to do it alone. I think Sasha mentioned that a couple episodes ago. And number two, the whole, benefit of being part of a pack, however big or small your pack is so that there are members of the pack who are there to guide you, help you, nurture you, support you, celebrate you, challenge you, hold you accountable. All of those things, and that you have it in your actual partner is fantastic, and only makes me confident that this is going to continue to go, even when you have the disruption of kids entering your life, because that's going to be a major disruption, right? And one thing that I find with people who have been on a weight loss journey or any journey where they're trying to really make changes, whatever it is, they go along really, really well. And then for some reason they stop. And it's usually some kind of disruption has occurred. So what do you think as life changes for you? How do you plan to maintain these healthy habits?
Well, I will say, like, obviously, you know, now in the holidays and, you know, like Thanksgiving was a good example. When I face disruptions, and we definitely have in a year and a half journey, there have been disruptions. One of them was a good disruption. For example, I'll give this as an example. Obviously, for our wedding, we enjoyed ourselves, rightfully so, on our our destination wedding in Mexico. So we definitely splurged, as we like to put it, a little bit. But every time we've had any minor disruptions, this has been real different in this journey. I've noticed when we have disruptions, whether that's for a weekend or a day or two at a time, we're both at the same time in sync, so excited to get back on track. And I think in the past, you know, when we've had those disruptions, we're like, oh my gosh, we enjoy them so much and we want them to continue. And myself personally, I should say, like, I want the disruptions to continue. I want to eat more of that fast food. I want to do more of those. But because we've committed so much to this new lifestyle, we're both always so excited. Oh my gosh, we get to get back on track. We get to get back. Let's work. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this meal that we're going to cook tonight. I'm so excited for this workout we're going to do together because we feel like, you know, bloated, or we're feeling like, you know, oh my gosh, we're getting too much off track of how much work we put into this. So I think the disruptions in our journey have, one, been really short because of the investment that we put into this. If we didn't go all in as we have, I think it would have been easier to get off track and easier to stay off track, most importantly, because I think you agree, Michelle, a lot of people, you know, they can get off track, but the key is to get back on track. And we love getting back to it. Like I said, we love getting back to it. So I accept the disruptions because at times they are necessary to kind of give you a minor reprieve, because it could be straining. The biggest part I'll say to people about weight loss, as much as you think it's physically draining, there is no comparison to how much it can be draining on you internally, emotionally. It really can be really grueling. So disruptions, I would say, are healthy to have minor disruptions from time to time, but that incentive to get back to it has been there for us the entire way, which I think is what's made us be so successful, is because we're always so excited to get back at it. And that's what's made it so successful. You can't go a year and a half without, you know, a year and a half journey without being able to bounce back correctly.
So I have a question for you. Michelle and I, in our past, have talked about things that are like non-negotiables. Like, this is a non-negotiable for me. For me, it's sleep. That is my number one foundation. I do not function as a person if I don't get good sleep the night before. For Michelle, hers is food, like to be nutritionally sound. And then, you know, the second one for, I would say both Michelle and I, the second tenet that is necessary for us is movement. And then, you know, it'll trickle down to like water, attitude of gratitude, things like that. What would you say is your non-negotiable that you say, this is why I think the thing I have to have in my life in order to continue to see my success and my momentum go?
I'll say two things. Number one, I'll give the specific one thing I think is my number one in a second, but honestly, the non-negotiable is to, and this might be a minor cop-out, but the non-negotiable is to do everything and don't stop. Because whether it be the different elements of our moving every day, which is 30 minutes every single day, the program that I was on required 30 minutes of movement every single day. And so that was number one requirement. Obviously, over 100 ounces of water was a number one requirement. But I think committing to all of the things that we were doing was most key. But the one non-negotiable, I think, is definitely the 30 minutes of moving every single day. Typically, every single morning, the routine is waking up, hopping on the treadmill, and I usually do a 30-minute incline walk every single day. And honestly, people always think, well, especially around the new year when they go to the gym and just want to go completely hard and just leave it all out on the table. For me, that 100-pound journey, it was just 30 minutes of movement every single day. Most of the time that was walking. Now, when we started to slow down a little bit in the journey, because obviously you lose a lot of water weight in the beginning and you can lose quite a bit throughout the journey, but towards the end, the last couple of months, we did have to take it up a notch and kind of do some interval jogging, running, and walking to lose that last little bit. But the non-negotiable has always been the movement for me. So I would probably say that would be the non-negotiable.
Well, I know we both love that because movement is medicine. So as long as you always have movement in your life, you at least can check that box and know that it is serving you in so many ways. It's actually a very teeny tiny part of the weight loss journey, quite honestly.
Yeah.
But it's a critical teeny tiny part. And I think, when you adopt these lifestyle habits, again, going forward to your future life with kids, my hope is not only that you have the energy to do all these things, but that you are actually modeling the behavior and you're going to raise these kids to understand how to feed themselves properly and how movement really does matter. I'm guessing that maybe those lifestyle habits were not part of your upbringing. Is that a fair guess?
That is a very fair guess. I don't place any blame anywhere in terms of my upbringing, but yeah, I mean, growing up, it was myself and my one sibling, my younger brother. My dad was the one who worked. And so we would always, daily, multiple times a day, ask my mom, let's get fast food. Let's go to McDonald's. Let's do that. And I don't place any blame because we were persistent. And so I recall that, we got our way a lot. We had absolutely amazing parents, but that one little part to their downfall is they would always say yes, and we would always continue to ask. And we ate so much fast food. And I'll bring this in, this minor part of the conversation to the full. My brother is heavier now than I was a year and a half ago. I am now trying to, because we both had that same upbringing, I'm now trying to push onto him, you have to make a change. And I want him to be around for the long haul. I want him to be, as he puts it, he wants to be the cool uncle. I don't know if he's going to wind up having children, but he wants to be the cool uncle to our kids. I want him to be around for that. And he's a really big guy right now. And so I was there. He's, like I said, he's a little heavier than I even was at my worst a year and a half ago. But that upbringing that we both had, I share with him the sentiment that I know that it's easy to stay where you're at, but I also know how much a million times better that I feel. And so despite us both having that upbringing of eating the way that we did and now never exercising, I want him to change as well to feel as good as I do. But yes, long answer, yes. Upbringing, we never really ate super healthy. We always ate out. And like I said, this me being overweight, honestly, all through high school, I was the butt end of jokes. I was the big guy. I've always been the big guy. Obviously, as people get into adult life, people weren't as harsh about it after high school, but I definitely was mocked. I did not like myself for a very long time, and so the upbringing was tough, but it's good to get that change.
Well, and I think it's just a testament that it doesn't matter where you start, it's what you do. Mm-hmm. And that you are, as an adult, really in charge of your own choices. And it is hard. It's something I say all the time. It's hard now or harder later. So maybe you can get that message to your brother, right? It's hard now. Trust me. It is going to be so much harder later when you can't be the fun uncle because you don't have the health to do it, or the strength, or the stamina, or the energy, or you're just not comfortable, or you can't fit on the airplane seat to go on the trip with your brother and your fun nieces and nephews. That's really going to be hard. So the hard now or harder later, I think also is a good message for any parents out there. I don't have kids. We all know that. I was a kid. And I know that it is very difficult to say no to your kids. I know it is because we tried it too. And yet, if you take that easy route by saying yes, perhaps it is going to lead to something really, really hard for your kids later, and so when you think about those daily choices and every day we're setting ourselves up to either be able to make good choices, or maybe we haven't. And of course we do the best we can in any situation that we've got. But sometimes we think we can't do better because we simply haven't tried, or we don't know, or we haven't, explored all the options of what better even means. So, take this story that Anthony's telling you and maybe think about what that might look like for your kids in the future, and learning how to help them establish some of these habits early on. And if you as a parent have not yet established them, there is no time like the present, I'm telling you. And it's okay to be on the journey while you're also raising kids. Because I think, again, that just models that, hey, we're all just trying to figure it out. And if you do want to be a healthy, happy, thriving human, living the best life that you can because you get one shot, I promise you it starts with taking care of your human, the one that you have to nourish and move and let rest, repair, and recover and hydrate. You cannot neglect it and think it's going to be there to, raise healthy, happy little humans. So as we really continue on your journey, I'm curious, as you've lost the weight and you are now doing things differently from what you have, how has that affected your family dynamics, your friendships, the way people see you and perceive you? How along the way have they treated it? And maybe now that you're kind of maybe at a holding point, what has changed for you in those realms?
Well, I can tell that because they're all so astounded that I've not just lost this weight, but I'm keeping it off. I can see through the way that they respond to me and, tell me I'm looking so good and really having an investment and wanting to know what did you do? Because it wasn't, what did you do to lose this weight? What did you do this time that was different? Because they all know that I've done this before. I've lost a little bit, gained it back, lost a little bit, gained it back. I can tell that they had always seen me as the big guy. And I don't want to guess, but I want to assume that maybe they thought I was always going to be like this, because like I said, that genuine surprise and that genuine investment, like it's kind of taken me aback a bit, because I'm like, I really think that they couldn't see me any other way. And it feels good, but it's also sad because I had just been that way for so long that it's like, they'd see me that way for so long that it's like, they just really didn't, they thought that I was beyond help. Maybe, and no fault of their own, because it was like that for so long. And this, to go back, this is why I'm really trying to help with my brother as well, because I think he's been in the same way, or he's been the bigger guy just as long as I had been. And so I know that it's been such a long journey, and that's what I've kind of tried to help my brother understand as well. And anyone that is watching this or listening to this, it is not something that should be taken with drastic steps and something that you expect to do fast. If you don't do it the right way, you're gonna either put on the weight back, or you're not doing it for the right reasons. If you find this, online, or you watch some video that talks about a really drastic way to lose weight and lose it fast, that's not going to give you do it for the right reasons. If you're just going to jump in and lose the weight and not keep it off and not, do this the right way with your journey. So I think with my family and my friends, having them see my journey and having them investment, we had a person that lives close to us, a neighbor, that we inspired them because of how much investment that we put in this process over a long period of time. So I'm definitely not going to call myself a point of inspiration, but knowing how far gone is not the right terminology, but just for how long term I was this unhealthy, I think I've had a lot of people, friends, family, and coworkers, and a lot of different people be so invested in my journey because I was so far down the path of unhealthy that a lot of them have come to me and asked me how I did it, how have I kept it off, how have I kept this journey going. So it's really, really exciting to be able to kind of help other people, including people in my close circle.
I am going to challenge you from here on out to view yourself as an inspiration.
I was just going to do that. So thank you. Yes,
you're welcome.
Absolutely.
Because why can't you? Like, why can't you be an inspiration? What limiting beliefs are you putting in yourself saying like, I have done the work to change my world, and in turn, now I'm going to pay it forward and change someone else's world, someone else's life. I mean, you need to be okay with that. You are an inspiration, and you need to receive that, and you need to claim it, because like, you're just holding yourself back. And that's not fair to this world. You were created to do big and beautiful and bold things, like you just told your story to all of us. And there's going to be someone that listens to this and they say, wow, what an inspiration. You can't put that out in the universe that you're not, because you are.
Oh, and by the way, we don't have people on the show who are not inspirations. So, I mean, there's that.
I appreciate it.
No, I mean, Sasha's right.
Well, I want to say I appreciate that, and hearing you guys say that, I think it started first and foremost with my wife and I. Like, we started with this conversation. I think she was an inspiration to me, and I was an inspiration to her because of us seeing what we did in this journey together. And the more I've thought in this conversation, the more I've also thought that we both, while we don't yet have the children, we are like already, I think we're setting ourselves up to be inspirations to the children that we don't have yet. In the sense that, because I've honestly, it's been kind of rolling around in my head in this conversation that we've been having, that it feels a lot like we're not just doing this for ourselves, but we're doing this journey, and why we've really stuck to it. I want to emphasize that. Not that we're just doing it, because a lot of people can do it, but us sticking with it and not stopping, I think it is that paternal and maternal instinct in the back of our head that's not letting us stop this, because we know we're doing this for the greater cause, the greater cause of the overall health of our family. And I'll tie it into what you were asking earlier about my upbringing, because I don't fault my parents at all for us not eating as well and maybe not being the healthiest in the world. But we now know, my wife and I, the steps that it takes to be overall healthy, and setting ourselves up for success. Like you were saying, maybe people not knowing and what you could be doing to your children without even knowing it. We're setting ourselves up to really hit this head on as parents, to instill what we've learned in this last year and a half to our future children. And so I think it's paternal and maternal instincts there that I've really never thought about until this conversation about why, because it has felt so different. So I've really been trying to think about what has been so different about this journey. And I think in this conversation, I just figured it out. I think it's the paternal and maternal instincts for the children that we don't have yet, because there's that added incentive to really, really stick to it. I think that's it.
Yeah, there's your why has to be bigger than your excuses.
Yeah.
That's for anyone listening to this. If you are simply doing it to lose weight, to see a different number on there, you're not in the right mindset. Your why has got to be bigger than any excuse you can come up with. And this isn't just weight loss. I came up with this saying or heard it because of my sobriety. So, is my why, is my sobriety, me wanting to be alive and not consumed by alcohol, is this bigger than the excuse that I have? Oh, I'm uncomfortable. Oh, I don't feel good. Oh, I have anxiety. What is my why? My why is I want to live.
Yeah, that's it. And I think we helped AROD uncover his why. So I mentioned the first question I asked people, do you want to lose it forever, or do you not care? My second question is why? I always ask why. What's your why? What is your personally meaningful reason for doing something that's going to be really hard? Because if you don't have a good reason, you're not going to do it for as long as you need to, as often as you need to, and all the steps that you need to have this outcome that you say you want. So tapping into your why for whatever it is, right? That is a critical component to really embracing a journey and reaching that goal or the outcome, or completely overhauling how you live your life. And really, AROD, that's what you and your wife are doing. You are overhauling, and you're getting so much practice at it before you have kids, that when the major disruption of having kids, because what you've had so far are minor disruptions. Okay. having kids is a major disruption. Nothing will ever be the same again. And and it's going to be these lessons that you learn with these minor disruptions of, okay, we need to adjust to the new normal now of having the schedule and the running around. And as the kids get older, now everything has changed. And so it is one thing that I do talk a lot to people about is, they kind of beat themselves up because they feel like they should be able to do what they always used to do, but life is not what it used to be like. And that you're having the opportunity to really understand how to be flexible and fluid and adjust and recognize ahead of time what the challenges are going to be and set yourself up for those challenges is, leaps and bounds ahead of where you otherwise could be. So I love that you have started this so early on and that you have a supportive partner. Not everybody does. Not everybody has this, oh, it's because I want to have kids. And it doesn't matter what your why is, but you have to have a why. And it's very helpful if you have support. And, maybe you don't have a partner, but maybe you do. Sign up for some kind of program, or you involve yourself in a like-minded community. You do whatever you can to help guide you through the challenges, because it's going to be hard. If it wasn't hard, we'd all be exactly where we want to be from the minute we say we want to be there. But it's going to be hard. So before we officially wrap up, any last bits that you want to get out there that we haven't already touched on?
I think you really don't know how much better you can, because again, I think a lot of incentive people want to lose weight and they want to I want to look so much better. Like I don't like the way I look. The way you feel is so much more worth it, because I think there's a lot of people, especially if you were, if anyone out there has been as heavy as I was for a long period of time, you may not know just how good you can feel. And that's been the biggest improvement for my wife and I is we are now saying, why did we not do this sooner? Because just the overall, it's not just, on a day-to-day basis. It's just your entire life changes when you make the changes to be a healthy person. And again, I think like you guys have been saying, is if you tie in the right why and you do it for the right reasons, you're not just feeling good because you lost weight, you're feeling good because you have worked hard towards that investment of your why. And that's what's been so satisfying for my wife and I, is because, as we both have met goals, we connect so much better and say, we did this and we did this together. And so I think overall, I would tell people that you may have either never experienced it or have forgotten just how good that you can feel. And I know it's a really hard journey. This is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life by far. And I think it's just because of how much I had to lose and the longevity of this process, because I would venture to say, while there are a lot of, I know obesity is a big issue, and I know there are a lot of people who are not in a good way that want to change. But when you're as bad as I was, it was going to take a complete overhaul. This wasn't just, I gained a little bit, I was 220, I want to get 200. No, I was 318 pounds. And again, to draw back on what I said in the beginning of the conversation, we stepped on a scale. I stepped on a scale with our dog, wanted to know how much she weighed, and she was puny, and it said 330. And I'm like, I want to be here. I want to be here for the long haul. I want to live a long life. We, in my family, we've got some overweight people. We have some underlying health concerns. So if I tie that in with being over 300 pounds, I'm not going to be able to do everything I want to do in life. I'm not going to be there long-term for my kids. I'm not going to be there long-term for my wife. I wanted to change things. And if anyone out there is listening, and I know it sounds cliche to say, like, just start that journey. And I say this to my brother, so I have recency in terms of what it feels like to talk to someone about this. Take it slow. Do it the right way. Take the right steps and take some small steps to start. Like my brother, he's walking. It's not every single day, but overall, he's walking 15 to 20 minutes a day. He's cutting out soda. It's just a little things like that. There's no quick fixes, because if this is an overall health journey, an overhaul that's for the entire life, not just for a couple months of being somewhat healthy and then going back to your bad habits, like this is about your entire life. So do it the right way that feels good to you. Obviously, commit to it. Don't allow yourself to slip too much to where you completely lose track. But take it from me, for how bad off I was, that when you start this overhaul and you start it at a pace that is comfortable for you, because at the end of the day, if you're miserable, if you're doing something drastic, it's not going to work for you. You have to do something that works for you. You have to have a good support system that we've talked about to have them help you so you can do this. Don't do it alone. But it is time. If you're listening now, it is time to start that journey. It's time to start it at your pace. It's time to start it, and it's time to start feeling amazing, because I'm so glad that my wife and I had started this journey. We're still on this journey, and you're going to be on this journey for your entire life, because this is your life we're talking about. This is not a short-term thing. This is your entire life. You only live once. Yes, I just dropped a YOLO. Unbelievable. But seriously, I want people to have that investment in themselves that I had in myself and my wife had in herself, that we have in our future children. Do it now. Do it now.
That sounds like inspirational words. That sounds like an inspirational person talking. That's weird.
I know, right? I love it. Well, AROD, thank you so much. Seriously, I literally was going to say the exact same thing. That sounds like a very inspiring message. So thank you so much for sharing the story. I know you are going to touch some lives. There's no doubt about it. And anybody listening, that is what the Be a Better Being podcast is all about. That is what Sasha and I are here to do, is to help you figure out how to be a better being, whether it's, with your health, or it's with your mindset, or it's with, expressing more gratitude, whatever it is. If you are looking at that reflection in the mirror and you are saying, I'm not 100% happy with whatever, and you want to be better, there's ways to be better. It probably starts with having to do better. So whatever that means, right? So what I know it means is to keep listening to this podcast, to find your why, to really understand that it is a journey and embrace it, right? There is no finish line until literally it's the finish. And we don't want that to come too soon. And if you want to have the healthiest, happiest version of the one shot you get, you have to do the work to do it. Clearly, it can be done. And wherever you are today, you start making those small steps. I promise you, a year from today, you'll be in a much better place. That's what we got. Thank you again, AROD, for sharing with us. Everybody, you know that now it is your turn to go and be a better being.
Thank you for listening to the Be a Better Being podcast. Michelle and Sasha hope that what you heard today inspires you to embrace this journey of life with an open mind, a kind heart, and a willingness to learn and evolve. If you enjoyed the content, please help spread their message by subscribing, sharing, and leaving a 5-star review. If you have a show topic idea or would like to be a guest, please visit betterbeings.net and fill out a contact form. Until next time, go and be a better being.